Hello and welcome to Krista's the Crafty. My name is Krista and I'm really glad that you're joining me here today. I'm going to be putting some vinyl on these wine glasses and I thought I'd show you how I go about doing it. So the first thing I do is I will need to upload my images into Design Space. Just go ahead and click on the upload button, have your folder there and drag it into the space and it will put it into Cricut Design Space. The other way you can do it is by clicking on the browse button itself and then navigating to the folder where the SVG or the design is. Once you've brought in all of your designs, all your SVGs, then now it's time to click on them and put them into your Design Space and we can start working on them. So just click on all three and click Add to Canvas. And now once they're brought in, they are going to be pretty big, so I'm going to resize them and I'm going to unstack them. They come in all stacked together. The next thing I'm going to do is to save my project. Nothing worse than having, you go through all this work to create something and then something happens that you lose everything. So go ahead and save your project at this time and we can move on. These are the wine glasses, like I said, that I have. So I'm just going to measure to see about how wide and how tall I want my image. So I think kind of the 2.5 inch is kind of where I'm looking at, probably 2.5 inch. I don't want to go any bigger because of the curve on there. Because all three of these designs are a little bit different, I'm going to change the size of them separately. So the very first one, I'm going to go in and change the width to 2.5. On this one here, I'll change it to 2.5 as well. And then on this last one, I'm going to actually change the measurements to a width of 2.5 and the height of 3, just to keep the design factor so it's keeping its shape. So now that these are all done, we're good to go. We can click on Save and move on. Now we need to click on each design and go down to the bottom right hand corner and under the Combine, click on Unite. This will ensure that the letters all stay together and they're not all separate. So do that for each one of these and then we'll go ahead and click on Save and then move on to click on the Make It button. I'm going to be using some scrap vinyl to be cutting these out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these from each design so that I can use little scrap pieces. Go ahead and click on the Continue button and then we get to choose our material, which in this case will be the vinyl. Now it's time to put the vinyl onto the mat. I'm going to be using some scrap pieces, so I'm going to use these. I have 2 pieces I'm going to use, and I always use my brayer to make sure that the vinyl is adhered properly onto the mat so that it's not going to pull up or anything like that. Once you do that, go ahead and put your mat in, click on Load the Mat, and let the machine cut the vinyl for you. The one piece of vinyl that I used was a little bit larger, and so I'm going to go ahead and cut off any extra. Same as on this piece here. I like to keep the extra pieces for such times when you need just a little piece. So again, I'm going to just cut these off and put them into my scrap bin, and I will use them for something else. When you're weeding your vinyl, be very careful when you're pulling off the large outside piece so that you're not taking off design elements from the design and then you have to try to figure out where they went, or then you have to recut a piece or something. So this one was fairly easy and there's only the couple pieces inside the letters that I have to take out. On this next SVG that I'm doing, I do end up losing a few pieces of the small bits on the bottom there. I end up cutting that off and not using that part of it. I just use the top part. And on this one, I decided to start taking out the inside pieces first. This is definitely another way you can do it. Sometimes it's easier, especially if you have a lot of swirls and stuff. It's easier to take out those little pieces first before you start taking off the outside piece. Here's where I started having some trouble. A few of the letters from down below started coming off, and I just was having no luck weeding it because the vinyl was pretty small. So I ended up cutting off that bottom piece and I'm just using the top piece, which says, "How Merlot can we go?" Once everything is weeded, we need to go and clean our glasses. Now these are plastic ones, but you still want to wipe them down, and I always use 70% rubbing alcohol. I just take a little cloth, a little paper towel, and put some of the alcohol on there and clean the whole surface all the way around. And then that way I don't have to worry about where I'm putting the design, because I know the whole thing is all clean, ready to go. So I have this cup holder that my sister made for me for Christmas a couple years ago, which I just love. And I'm going to use that to put the glasses on and to use that to apply the vinyl. If you're interested in seeing a video tutorial on how that was made, let me know in the comments down below, and I will definitely do up a video on that. So right now I'm just moving them around. There's little tiny lines on either side of the wine glass, so I don't want those where my vinyl's going to go. So I put the transfer tape on and I start applying the vinyl to the glasses. Now you want to be careful, because at the bottom of these wine glasses that is curved, and so it is a little tricky to get the vinyl down without it folding over on itself. So just be careful with that. So in this one, I did take some scissors and I made some relief cuts. So just went in between the letters and cut, so that when I was laying it down, I could lay the letters down the way I wanted them and not have the transfer tape get all buckled up. So just take your time removing the transfer tape, and be careful, paying attention to the vinyl as you're going, so that you're not inadvertently taking something off like that. If it starts coming up, just press it back down, and you can go ahead and just go slow and remove it, and you'll have the transfer tape off in no time. I followed the same procedure for all three of the wine glasses. Put the transfer tape on, scrape it down front and back just to make sure that the vinyl is stuck to the transfer tape, and then take the paper backing off and apply it to your glass. Now you can put any design, any saying you want on here. You can do any color you want. That's the beauty of making your own glasses. Now, these would be perfect for if you were doing a girls' weekend, if you were having a bridal shower or a stagette, or, even for the wedding, you could put the head table's wine glasses and put their names on all of their glasses. This is such a fun way to personalize your stemware. I know there's no stems on these ones, but you know what I mean, like with your wine glasses and whatnot. So keep that in mind for some future party you're going to be doing, or a future project you're going to be working on. Here's a final look at the project that we made today. These wine glasses were really a lot of fun to make, and I really like how they turned out. I want to thank you all for joining me here today on Krista's So Crafty. I appreciate each and every one of you. Happy crafting!